Hi, my name is Sarah Powell. I am an EDM 310 and I'm here interviewing Kathy Byron, who is now a school nurse at Croak Elementary. So, Miss Kathy, I just wanted to ask you a few questions about how you've seen education change over the years. So, to start us off, what um, what are some differences that you've seen in schools since when you were a kid and now, according to technology?
Well, there's a lot of changes. And now we have smart boards, and in my day, we used chalk. So that's a big difference there. And so, for people who have asthma, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
And then it progressed, from chalk to, the dry erase board, and now we have smart boards. So all you have is you just touch everything, which is really, really nice. And I think that's a great improvement, and I feel like we are moving forward in our country.
Okay. Now, about the smart boards in the class, do you think it's something that all schools should have, or do you think that um, they should be able to choose it, or decline having the smart board in their class? What do you think?
I definitely think it's a plus because I've seen the interaction with the kids, and it's like, wow, this is something like it's like them operating a huge computer. And it's for kids where I work that are in more poverty level school. Uh, you know, they're I feel like it's something that really catches their eye, and it's something they can interact with. They feel like they're actually manipulating the computer themselves, and it's a lot of fun for them. I think all schools should have one in
Okay.
every classroom.
Gotcha. Now, here at EDM 310, we've talked about how using computers in the classroom and also kids going home and being able to use computers for recreational purposes. Do you think that the kids using them in the classroom, do you think that it would distract them from doing their work? Or do you think it's still okay?
I think it's still okay as long as there's guidelines in the classroom that they can't, and they can't just go online and do anything they want to. It has to be educational, and it has to be, some guidelines and some stipulations set up, and some, I guess, to keep them from doing those things. As far as going online, you block certain areas so that they cannot go online.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's now in our technology age. I mean, everybody's on a computer or cell phone or something, working the internet, and the kids can learn through that.
Now, I know a lot of our schools have smart boards, and I know a lot of our schools and our teachers, well, some of our schools and teachers are pushing to go all towards technology. Now, there are some teachers that are still behind in times and they're not wanting to change. Do you see that as a reason that they should either be forced to get trained or be asked to step down from their position? What do you think?
Well, I know it's hard for older folks that have been teaching for 20 or 30 years, and which are close to retirement, to kind of change. I know it's a little harder for them. But if they have a little more open mind, I still, think we need to make a balance there, because kids still need to learn how to write and to be able to put things on paper. Not everything needs to be on a smart board, and I feel like you still have to have, interaction with the classroom in other ways. It's not all about the computer, because, sometimes kids lose out on a lot of one-on-one, I guess, teaching when you think everybody's getting it on the computer. But some people they need to write things down, and some people are visual, some people are audio, learn through hearing things, and some people learn through touching and, and using their hands. So there's all levels of education.
Okay. Now, as far as our country goes, I know you had mentioned before how our country is moving forward. How would you compare um, like other countries with ours? Do you think we're behind, or do you think we're where we should be, or what?
Well, I know that some countries, I know things like China and stuff, they're usually on the cutting edge of a lot of things that they introduced to us.
Yeah.
But uh, anyway, I feel like our country is moving forward in technology, and even like I also work part time at a nursing home, and everything's going to paperless. It's hard to let go of that paper sometimes, but we're going to everything is computer charting, everything is done on computer, and in the classroom now as a nurse at the school system. Um, all of our paperwork is we're all gearing toward putting everything on the computer, so it's easier access, quicker. Nowadays times, if you have to wait more than 5 minutes for something, people get upset. So I think it's going to make as far as records go, we'll be able to send records in just a matter of seconds or minutes. Um, I feel like our country is still, it's behind in some areas, but I believe it is moving forward.
And some would say, just to add to what you said, some would say that in the United States, the school system itself is behind even our own country in other areas. Um, the education department is lacking in change because a lot of our superintendents or a lot of our leadership, they're older, they don't want to change, they don't want to take the chances and almost a leap of faith to put money and invest in a world of technology. So that can be hard, and change is always hard. Uh, something else I wanted to ask you is some pros and cons. What do you think are some pros and cons of having complete technology in the class where students are not using pencils or pens? They are not having any, um, they're not having to write anything down. They're not having to um, take homework home unless it's through email or blogs or something like that. What are some pros and cons that you see in that area?
Well, I guess some pros wouldn't have to worry about sharpening pencils, and and you wouldn't have to worry about them not having paper.
Yeah.
But there are some cons to that. I feel like the student, it would make a lazy student as far as not having to write anything down.
Right.
I know they could learn to type at an earlier age, and they have learned how to type at an earlier age.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school, you didn't have typing to use in the ninth grade. Now we have our pre-K children learning to use the computer at 4 years old, and they'll probably type 150 words a minute when they get out of school. But anyway, it's just I guess you still need hand-eye coordination as far as, and I feel like you still need to write things down, or kids needs to work with their hands. And like I said, some kids are visual, some are audio, some like to use their hands and create things. I'm not saying that everything should be done with paper and a pencil, but I think it needs to be a balance.
Okay. I know you have grandkids, right? You have
Yes.
two in school. Um, where do you see them in 5 years? Right, because they're young in education. They're both either in first or in kindergarten, pretty much starting off. There's so many years ahead of them that they have to complete. Where do you think that school will be in 5 years, and what kind of things you think they'll be having to do?
Well, it's very interesting because I look at when I was in school. I mean, I watched from 8 track to cassette to now we have CD, DVDs, DVRs. And that's just a matter of say 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So given half that time they get out of school, who knows what we're going to have? Everything's wireless. This is that. You have cars that you can plug in and drive. So it's kind of if you think out of the box, you say, well, we may not have to have tires on our cars. I think of a lot of people, who knows what's going to be developed in the next 20 to 30 years.
I'm okay with no tires. I'm okay with no tires.
So, I mean, you look at some of the things that were, you probably don't know the cartoon, The Jetsons,
yes.
But you look at some of the things that were in that and you think, well, is that a capability one day? And some things that were in cartoons years ago that were thought of as ridiculous are actually happening. Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's some of the visionary and some of the people that do develop those kind of shows, that we may be in a little space car zipping around the universe and have stop signs up in space
yeah.
on the road. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen. It's probably going to be phenomenal because the kids coming up nowadays that are developing so many things, even at a younger age, that are inventors of things that you wouldn't have thought of.
Okay. So, just to kind of sum up our conversation, technology as a whole, you would see mostly as a good thing, but still needs to be restrained. We still need to keep up our human relationships, right? Go ahead.
I was just saying, technology is wonderful, but don't lose the, I guess, the personal touch. Not everything is all about computers and technology. We still need customer service, like when you go to a store. You don't want everything automated. I hate it when I just like making a phone call to a doctor's office or to make an appointment somewhere. You have to listen to 20 different recordings before you get to who you want to get to. Sometimes that is very tedious and aggravating, but I think we still need to remember the personal touch and personal one-on-one service as far as commerce goes and things like that. And in the classroom itself, we still need to give personal attention to each student.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for your time and for your expertise about school and the medical field and how just the world is changing because of technology. No matter where you go, you're going to see the effects that technology has made on our society and is continuing to make. And that is evident in what you said, just how it's changed over the years. So I just want to thank you very much for taking out time to have a conversation with me.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Bye.